Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about how to use code overrides to display dynamic data that comes from outside of Framer. And the first set of overrides we're going to build are these ones that show the local time and local weather in Amsterdam for this portfolio. So if we jump into our file, you can see that in our header here, we've got the time, sort of a clock, and then we've got this weather component. But to start off with, we're just going to focus on building this little clock. Now I've got a code override file set up. So if we go in here, you can see that I've got the empty code override and everything's just displaying its default value. Now there's nothing inherently different about fetching data in Framer than just plain React. But if you're new to the process, the principle is we just fetch data from somewhere and then we pass it into our component. So for this first one, all we really want to do is get the time. And so we might try do something like this. Create a variable called time. And we'll say new, and then we'll pass in the date into text. Now, of course, nothing happened there because what we've done is we've created a new date object, which is a special date object that the browser gives us. And then we're trying to pass it into the text attribute, which only accepts a string. So what we can do is say time.toLocale string, and then call that function. And then we're just going to say in US to give it a locale, and boom, we have the time. So there's a couple things wrong with this straight off the bat. A, it's telling me my time, not the time in Amsterdam. And B, it's not updating. It's just showing me the time at which this component was loaded. So to fix the first thing, we can pass some options to this locale string. If we hop over to the browser, you can see that toLocale string is a method on this date object, and it gives us a bunch of options, one of which we'll find pretty useful, and that's time zone. So if we hop back to Framer and we pass in an object here, we say time zone, and then we want this to be Europe/Amsterdam. We can also pass in some formatting options to clean up that time a little bit. So we can say hour, and then pass in 2-digit, like this, and we can do the same for minute. And if we hit save, you can see that it trims out the date and the seconds. And if we don't want this PM, we can change the locale from US to GB, for instance, and it'll give us 24-hour time. So that's all very cool, but we still don't have an updating clock. And that's because this code is only executed when this component is loaded. What we need to do is store the time and then run a piece of code every minute that will update that time. Now to do that, we need to store the time in React state, and we need another React API called useEffect to update this component. So to start off with, let's just import those things from React. So if I say import, then curly brackets, I'm going to say useEffect and useState, and then we're just going to say from React. Okay, so now instead of storing the time in this variable, we're going to store the time in state. And to do that, we do this. We open up some square brackets, we write time, and then we write the name of the function we want to set the time, and we say equals useState. And in much the same way that we do in the store, what we want to do is set the default value for time. And so we'll copy this over here and paste it in there and get rid of this old time variable. And you'll notice that that doesn't work. We only have access to useState and useEffect within this scope. So we really need to move this below this return. So now when I save it, we can see that the time is back. It's still not updating. As a rule of thumb, we want to write all of our React code after this first return. Next up, we need to write some code that will update our state after the component has rendered. To do that, we use this thing in React called useEffect, which is basically just a little hook that takes a function and will allow us to run that function after the component has rendered. So the syntax for this is kind of weird. We write useEffect and then we pass it a function as the first argument, and then we're going to write a bunch of code between these curly brackets. But the second argument is a dependency array. So it tells useEffect if the values within this dependency array change, then run the code in here. Now for our use case, we actually don't need to specify any dependencies to rerun this code because we're going to run this code once every minute. And to do that, we're going to use a JavaScript method called setInterval. So first up, we say const interval equals setInterval, and in much the same way, setInterval takes two arguments. The first argument is a function, and this is the code that will be run after the interval, and the second argument is the delay in milliseconds. So here we're going to say 1000, so this code will run every minute. And then inside of here we're going to update our time, so we're going to say set time and then we're going to say new date. This should mean that in about a minute, this will update to be 1908. And there we go. We can see that this piece of code is causing this component to re-render at least once a minute with the new time. Now, just to be safe, we're going to clear this interval so we don't have a bunch of them running. So we're going to say return, and then we're going to call a function, and we're going to say clear interval, and we're going to pass that same interval back into it, and that'll clean up that interval so that we don't have a bunch of them running. And that's basically it for the clock. You might be wondering why we use useState here and not Framer's store. And that's really just because we don't need this time outside of this component. We don't need to share it with other code overrides. So we can keep it within the scope of with clock. Next up, we're going to fetch the weather from an external service and display it in our weather component. So if we click into this weather component, you can see that it has a text variable and we add a little degree suffix to it. And that variable is called temp. So when we pass the weather down from our code override into this component, we need to pass it into this temp variable. Now the other thing in here is we have this weather symbol component. You can see that we have a bunch of variants for the different kinds of weather. I've just taken some feather icons and found all the weather related ones. And so these are all the weather conditions we can access. We have clear, cloudy, drizzle, rain, and snow. And what we're going to do is switch the variant based on the weather code we get back from the external API. Now to get started, we need to add another code override. So if we go in here and edit code, we need another override called with weather. So I'm just going to copy this one, paste it down here, because we're going to use a lot of the same techniques. I'm going to call this one with weather, and let's just remove everything inside of useEffect, and let's get rid of all of this and press save. I'm going to leave this useState around for now because we're going to reuse that. But let's just go back and add this code override to this element. So back in the main page, I'm just going to select with override, portfolio, and then we're going to say with weather, and let's go edit that. First up, let's change this state variable to be weather, and we'll change this setter method to be set weather, and then we're going to give it a sort of default value. We're going to say temp, and we'll say 19, and then we're going to create another key called weather code, and for now we're just going to give it a value of 0. And before we go any further, let's just pass this temperature down into the component. So we know that that variable in the component is called temp, so we just say temp equals and then weather.temp, and you can see nothing is showing up, and that's because temp is expecting a string. So we just need to write .toString, and now our default value for temp is showing up in the component. Okay, so we're over in the browser now, and this is the service we're going to use to fetch the weather. It's called OpenMeteor, and they have this publicly available API. It allows us to fetch the weather for a given location, and we can go through and select exactly what we want the API to return. And you can see here I've selected daily weather variables. So we just want it for the whole day, not individual hours. And I've selected weather code and maximum temperature because those are the two things we're interested in displaying. You can see down below, it gives us the preview of what that response might look like and a URL to call to get that response. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see that it gives us a map of all the different weather codes. So if the weather code is 0, it means there's clear sky. If the weather code is 77, it means it's snowing, and you get the idea. But we need a way to map this to our icons. So what I did was copy this table into ChatGPT and ask it to write a JavaScript function that would select the weather type based on the code. And then I just cleaned it up a little bit, so it only used those 5 weather types we have icons for. So you can see here, the function is called weather icon, and it takes in the weather code, and based on the weather code, it will just return the weather type. So back in our override, what we want to do is specify the icon variable. So we're going to do icon equals, then we're going to use that weather icon function, and we're going to pass it weather.weather code. Now you can see when I change this code, the icon changes. Okay, so now we actually need to fetch the data from an external source. So we're going to go inside of this useEffect, and we're going to create a function called fetchData. And we're going to make sure that this is an async function because we want it to happen asynchronously, as in we want this component to render while this is still fetching. And then we're going to use the keyword try, open up some curly brackets here, and then we're going to create a variable called response, and then we're going to fetch from our URL. But we want fetch to be awaited, so we're going to say await in front of it, and we'll fill out the URL in a second, but let's first complete this code block. So after we've fetched this data, what we want to do is pull the JSON out of it. So we say const JSON equals await response JSON, and that will turn the text response into a JSON object. And then we just need to write an error handler here. So we're going to say catch error, open up some curly brackets, and we're just going to say console.error. And then we just want the message it prints to be error fetching data, and pass in the error, and that'll just log the error if we can't fetch the data. Okay, so that's all ready. Now we just need to put a URL into this fetch function. So back in OpenMeteor, it's constructed this URL for us. So all we need to do is copy that and then just paste that string in here. Now, obviously nothing's changed in our UI because we aren't doing anything with this data, but let's just log what's being returned. So we'll say console.log, and we just want to see the JSON. So now if we open up the console, and nothing's happening yet, and that's because we haven't actually called this fetch data function anywhere. So what we need to do is just go down here and actually call it fetch data. And now you can see it's returning a response. And we're getting all of these attributes. And the one we're interested in is this daily object. And inside here we have the weather code, which is currently 81, and then we have the temperature, which is in here, and it's 17.5. So now that we've fetched this data, we want to put it into our weather object. So that's pretty simple. All we do is call set weather, and we open up some brackets and we say temp, and we need to drill down into this object. So we're going to say json.daily.temp to max, and then we want to do a comma, and for weather code we want to do the same sort of thing. So we'll go json.daily.weathercode, and we can just remove this console.log. You can see everything's working perfectly. We're getting the temperature and we're getting the correct weather code. Okay, so that's pretty cool. You'll notice that we're storing the weather information in state. We aren't storing it in a sort of global store. So if we wanted to share the weather code, for instance, with the footer down here, we need to move this information into the store. And so to do this is actually pretty simple. What we need to do is first create a store. So we'll go to the top of the file, we'll say const useStore equals create store. Let's open up some brackets here, and we'll copy in the same defaults we've had here. But this time we're going to put them into a weather object. So we'll do something like that. And so now, instead of using this state, we're going to use the store. So we just comment this out. We're going to say const and then square brackets store set store equals use store. And now instead of set weather over here, we're going to say set store. We have to specify the weather key we want to update. So we'll do something like that, add another curly bracket. So now instead of updating state, we're updating the global store, but we need to pull the weather information from the store instead. So we're going to say store dot, and the same over here, store dot. Okay, so now we're sort of back to square one, and we can create a new override that'll just pass the icon down to this footer. So I'm quickly going to do that down here, export. Okay, but in this component, we don't actually need to fetch any of the data. We just need to pull information out of the store. So we're going to copy this line over, and we're going to do something like that. And we want to switch the variant of the icon based on the weather code. So probably just going to write variant equals, and then copy this line, which will switch the icon for us. And now we just need to go back and apply it to this icon. So if we go back here, select this icon, which is our weather symbol component, code overrides, portfolio. It's cut off by the screen share, but with weather icon. And now if we edit this code and we preview it, we scroll down to the bottom, you can see that we are sharing this weather state with that code override. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this code override. The next override we're going to work on builds on a lot of these concepts, but takes them a little bit further. And it's this override that fetches a list of popular movies from an external service and allows us to page through them. So I'll catch you in the next one.